right, not too bad. We're building a new country. So it's not necessarily a startup society, it's a new country, and it's a lot of fun that we are having with Croatian police. You probably heard a couple of stories from last couple of days. Maybe we could at the end play the video, if you could find it from the recent developments. Some expected events were happening. The Croatian police came to raid us after 1.5 months of peacefully developing the territory, but again, we were expecting that it would happen sooner or later. It's just part of the development of our relations with Croatia. For us, think about it. We have been working for 8 years just to get the access to the territory. So we are ready for a couple more floodings in the relations with Croatia. The fact that we have been granted access to Liberland has been a major success in Liberland history. And it was amazing success based on 3 things. First of all, it was the fact that Croatia joined Schengen. So they lost the sovereignty over their borders. They became part of the empire, as Barroso says, the European Union and Schengen. And that way they couldn't really do what they could do before with us, beat us on the border. Then there was another element, and I just spoke with the gentleman, Niko Omilana, who managed to get into Liberland and plant the flag there, and 9 million people saw the video, how he gets beaten right after he plants the flag in the middle of Liberland, without any legal reason. So that was also pretty intense pressure on Croatia. And then there was the third element that I actually met the president of Croatia, and it was nice meeting. We met in Zagreb on the territory of this conference that contacts the best Croatian and American businesses together. So it was a good platform for meeting. We shook hands twice, and I'm hoping that this is also one of the key elements for the fact that Croatia finally, after 8 years of struggling, opened the borders for Liberlanders. So since a month and a half, it was on 6th of August that we gained access. We have been actively developing Liberland. We have been thinking how to develop it. We pushed all kinds of services forward, including finalizing the land register, now finishing the legal system as well as the system for fines, because it's a hilarious story. Of course, the Croatian police doesn't like that much what we're doing, so they're able to hold us hostage for 6 hours on the river. But now it's not going to be that easy for them from next week on. Because for every single minute they will get 1 minus merit inside of our legal system, which will accumulate, and they should think twice, because all these merits will have a monetary value, or they already have it inside of Liberland, and we're going to big exchanges with our token fairly soon. So it's going to be a wild ride in this regard. So let me go through the presentation as it is structured. So Liberland really wants to be the state for the new millennia. We try to combine together the best elements of nation states, of the best constitutions that are out there, a little bit of American constitution, a little bit of Swiss democracy, a little bit of corporation, and a little bit of monarchy as well. Basically try to really come up with the best system of governance for human society. And we put everything on blockchain. And we have chosen, I know you have chosen Stellar, but we have chosen to work with the code that is Polkadot coded, because we found out that's one of the best proof of stake systems, and basically our system is also proof of stake. But all our institutions, starting from Congress, Senate, the courts, registries, everything that you can think of, including budgeting, is basically in one single platform. So I think we're at least 5-6 years ahead of any other nation state around the world, which gives us a huge edge. And now this whole system is becoming live, and it's transparent, very efficient. You don't have to wait for Catastrophe for 2 weeks or 5 months or 2 years as we are waiting now in Serbia. It happens in a split of a second. If you sell your parcel, if you send money, there is nobody that it can block it, because the Liberland dollar, the currency of Liberland, is working the same way like Bitcoin. And Liberland's merits are the shares of Liberland, but they're also your collateral in the system. So if you mess up really badly, you can lose your shares. You don't really lose them, but they are staked, and you cannot use them for unstaking anymore. Those merits are used to compensate for the damage that you have created to the third party. So we have a kind of like a smart system of collateral in this time when really people are switching to completely private keys, right? But then there is no responsibility in the society in a way that you cannot really get anybody to be accountable. But in Liberland it's possible. You can lose your shares of the state if you mess up badly, if you screw somebody or if you create some damage and you don't want to compensate it in a normal means. So there is a way to fix it. And it works greatly, by the way. Like most of the people that screwed Liberland over last 8 years, they were pushed to compensate back when I explained them how the system will work. They understand how serious the thing is, and they don't want to be top 10 people that committed crime when the whole system launches, because it would be also very bad PR for them. But they also understood that it would be creating a huge monetary damage if they kept being criminals inside of Liberland. Because the value of these merits actually goes up. So if you hurt Liberland early, your damage that you have created also grows very fast. So it's in your best interest to fix the mess that you created. And it's very important that this system is working justly, right? That the justice system itself is going to work as good as possible so it doesn't create errors. They will also happen, but I think it's still a great tool what we have created. And this is the situation right now. So that you understand a little bit, this is now Liberland Marina. This is where Liberland boats are parked, and we've got quite a few nice boats. This is the center of the Liberland right now. This is where the construction of the presidential palace is taking place. There is an airport that is being also already taken care of by our finance minister, and he wants to build a boutique hotel over here because he's one of the bigger shareholders. And by the way, these merits also translate to your capability to homestead piece of land. The more merits you have, the bigger is your right to go and take over some plot. There is now a nice place for horses in here, and there is a farm that is also being taken care by one of our esteemed citizens, Nicola from Italy, that really wanted to start a farm. This whole area is Liberty Island. This is where the action with Nico Omilana took place. It's pretty cool because I'm doing my first presentation after we actually settled the country. So it feels completely different, right? For 8 years, I've been basically giving this presentation while I only visited once Liberland. Like I only had once chance to visit, and since then I've been kicked off. But now we actually taken care of the whole property for more than a month and a half, and it really feels magical. Anyway, so it's a huge step forward. And this is the house that used to be here. This is how we stick the flag. Right in front of it, my father did a really great job on the pole because there were no screws anywhere. It was impossible to untie it, and the screw itself was 1.5 meters deep. So I think they had a big problem getting it out. So that's why it stayed for 14 days there like this. And people went there and they took the pictures with it, Croatians. It was a big attraction. And when we came back now after these 8 years, we had really hard time even finding that building. The whole thing is complete bush, or now it's not because we actually cleaned this whole territory already. But still, like, it's pretty bushy in this part, for example. But this is the Liberty Street one. And they in 2017, because we kept putting the flag on this house, they came with the bulldozer and they completely leveled it down. That's why we couldn't find it a couple of years later. But now there is still one thing that remains. There is a bunker, basically, or like a cellar that managed to stay intact. And this is what we are going to fix tomorrow with one of these famous YouTubers. And we will put a big wall there. So next time they come and rob Liberland, they will have to take this big wall outside of this cellar. So that's one of the, I think that would be a very funny story. And especially if we have these big YouTubers coming down to Liberland for tomorrow. So anyway, our inspiration, of course, is places like Switzerland, Liechtenstein, Singapore. We want to be much better than them in the sense that taxes in Liberland are completely voluntary. The only allowed tax is a land fee, and basically everything else is not allowed. It's banned tax. So very competitive government, only 4 ministries, make it everything as easy as possible. Right now our legislation is less than 200 pages, and I believe you can actually run a functioning society. You don't need 500,000 pages like European Union. We have, as I told you, everything on the blockchain, which is, I think, very nice technology that allows us to really run in a decentralized way. Any single citizen can run the whole infrastructure of a country on his computer. Very difficult to get rid of. Our elections are every 3 months. There will be 21 members of Congress. I wish I also found one of the future congressmen here at this place. I believe there is quite a bit potential here. We are also democracy because majority of citizens can decide anytime they want to get rid of any law that they want. They cannot install new law, which I think is a terrible idea because then there is this tyranny of majority. But majority of society can reject the law that the corporate governance of Liberland or the Congress creates, which nobody can say we are not democracy. Yes, we are democracy because we allow democracy to get rid of any law, just like Swiss democracy does. But not create new laws because that's a road to hell. The judiciary is completely decentralized. It's a last thing that needs to be programmed. Any Rust developers are very welcome. We've got our lead developer here with us, Dorian, back there. Right there. So, if you are a developer, please talk to us. We've got diplomatic presence all around the world now. This is our newly instituted embassy in Washington, D.C. It's a very nice place given to us by Brock Pierce. So we're very honored. We've got our diplomatic relation with these countries. So we are also quite based, we have done a lot of work on diplomacy in the 8 years. We have our mission in European Parliament. This is our mission with the American congressmen and senators. There were at least 6 of them on this event, and I'm going to speak in 14 days again for them in Washington, D.C. This was, for example, with one of the ministers in El Salvador, where we were for the launch of Bitcoin City, which is also an exciting project. President gave us a lot of credit during his speech while he was announcing Bitcoin City. So we're also closely connected to El Salvador. This was I got a nice award, humanitarian award for the help in Haiti and Dominican Republic because I'm also sitting on the board of Liberland Aid Foundation, and we delivered a couple containers with food and a couple ambulances and fire trucks. So, our humanitarian activities are also quite widespread. And then, very cool thing, we also have a whole thing in metaverse. So we don't have just a 2D land register, we also have 3D land register. So you are able to walk through Liberland. The lead designer of this metaverse didn't work that much on it because he himself is now the mayor of Liberland. It's very cool. I would never expect that to happen, but he actually moved with his wife as one of the first settlers, and he's managing the construction and the settlers. So I'm looking for somebody else to help him to do this because right now we've got an electricity problem after we got completely robbed by Croatians. We are bringing more generators tomorrow and more boats tomorrow, but it was a bit of a surprise because we were expecting it 1 month ago and then they came a little bit uninvited. Anyway, and we're also building, resorts and villages around Liberland. So this is the one that is being built. It's Ark Village in Serbia. It's right on the opposite side. It's 6-7 kilometers downstream. It's a great place. You can also come to visit, but it's a terrible paper headache. If we ever manage to fix the building permit, I will be very happy, but I always said we will first build skyscraper in Liberland before we finish these papers here in Serbia. And this is the presidential palace. This is how it used to look, but we want to extend it a little bit, make some meeting room for the Congress, but keep the building as it is. And we already actually built first 2 lines of the bricks after they completely damaged it. This is from our marina. This houseboat has been also damaged through Croatian activities. They stole the houseboat while I was driving in Liberland, but we managed to get it back. Now they have to compensate that for the damage. And it's just moved back to Apatin for reconstruction, and we're moving it right back to Liberland. This boat didn't survive 3 attacks of Croatians, so it's on the land right now, but it was also fun. They almost managed to ruin it, but they didn't manage to. And this boat is now the critical boat for the settlement. All the stuff and all the people are packed in this boat because everything else was stolen from Liberland. And these are all the buildings that we started to build. This is where they are situated. This was the first house that we built. We built it literally in a couple of days after we moved in. And it's good that they removed it because the water can probably reach all the way up to here with the yearly flooding. So I was thinking it's better if the Croatians remove it than if the flooding removes it. It's a more bonus for us. Yes, and we're also getting this thingy so we can move bigger things into Liberland, like 32 tons. This is the new police boat of Liberland, pretty decent boat that we got now that is a little bit faster than the Croatian police boat and has a little bit more comfort, so they're probably a little bit jealous of that. Then we have a nice project for Liberland Hotel. It's really lovely. You can see the whole video, but we're not going to go into that deeply. But it's a 10 million euro project, which we would like to start building right away. It's going to have a nice spa area, nice balconies. It's difficult to say if we will have to go through 1 or 2 more rounds of destruction with Croatians. We'll see. I think we are able to actually make a deal with them now. But I don't know. I didn't know how many years it will take to break inside of Liberland. Now how many years or month it will take to really be able to settle the relations with them. It really depends on international support. How much support are we able to get? If we're able to get, for example, Montenegro to help us at least a little bit diplomatically to push Croatia to move a little bit more humanely towards us, or if Serbia is going to help us at least behind the scenes a little bit, or if the Croatians themselves decide, actually, this is actually a great project, we'll have billions of dollars here in a couple of weeks, let's embrace it, let's stop fighting it. I think that would be the best approach that they could, of course, figure out. Anyway, so there are a couple more pictures. Yes, the Liberland is pretty much free territory. If you have your merits, you can settle wherever you want. You can earn merits by coming to Liberland and working there. People are making as much as 20 euro or 10 merits, because right now it's 2 euros per 1 merit. So, people are making very good salaries. If you don't have money but you're skillful, you can easily make money. And that's it from me. I wish, you also decided to become at least e-resident of Liberland. It's a nice procedure which takes a couple of minutes, costs $150. And you get nice Liberland ID, and then you don't have to pay visa when you come to Liberland, by the way. The visa is 5 merits. Right now, our border house has been destroyed, so there is nobody to collect the visas, but there are some other benefits, like you can start a Liberland company and start business. Now we've got nice integration with some exchanges and with some banking institutions. And a lot of things are actually coming together once the blockchain ecosystem really kicks in. And I didn't want to launch the token before we were not settled in the territory, because it would be a bit, problematic from the point of view that you're not in the country that you're claiming, but when we are there physically, I think it's a great opportunity to launch the whole ecosystem and show the power of decentralized ecosystems. So that's it from me.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Now we have a great 10 minutes for questions. So, Michael. Thank you. Just Michael told me a story about when no one asks questions, there should be one person who will do it. So I asked him now.
It's your job, in fact, basically. So what is the opportunities for your e-resident card and passport in terms of official travel opportunities and visas with other countries?
That's a good question. Now we're actually collecting all the stamps for all the countries. I think maybe 20% of the world has been traveled with Liberland passport successfully. Don't expect that you will be able to get into Schengen with it, but most of Africa is travelable, Pacific islands as well. They basically check that the country exists and they're cool with it. Now, the more advanced countries like Dominican Republic, this is where we're making the diplomatic deal, and I hope it's going to happen in a couple of days. Haiti, that has been already tested and works because we also have very good relations there. So it's more about relations there. If they somehow recognize us, since some of these countries already put us into their systems. Like in Colombia, for example, we're in some internal system of Colombia. So when you check into hotels, they have a Liberland in the list, which is pretty amazing. So, and for some of the exchanges, like Kraken recognizes our passports for a long time. Actually from very beginning of existence of Liberland, because they were fans, and a couple more exchanges, so there are opportunities to use it. Of course, right now, the main use of it is that you can show that you're a citizen of Liberland to other people in your community. Okay, any more questions? Okay.
How are you going to deal with Croatia later? You will have a border control for your own?
Actually, we already had it. It's and the security company is hired for another and paid for another 2 weeks right now. So we have 24/7 security guards in Liberland that are checking people's documents. So Croatia does check them. They didn't de jure install the border, but they did it de facto by making strict control of who comes in and who comes out of Liberland, right? And what we did on the other end, we built this house for the security guys. Well, it's not there, but maybe you can find the video, by the way. The video of the destruction if you go to Liberland. Okay, guys, can you go to YouTube and check the latest video on our website? I can play it for you so you can see how the action was happening in Liberland, including how they were destroying our security house 2 days ago. So yes, the plan is basically that Liberland has its own borders, and we are also checking people's documents. We have already done it for more than a week. People were standing there and checking people's documents. And the plan is from next week on also to charge people that don't pay the visa for entry, charge them -5 merits for failing to prove that they have filled in the visa. And basically we believe that Liberland will become so popular at some point that the visa itself will have to be used to regulate number of people inside of Liberland. You know, that basically it would be overly crowded, and the visa fee will have to adjust according to the expected number of visitors, so we can regulate number of people in Liberland. Like, think about it, like right now we have 700,000 people that applied online, but imagine when we actually go live and we start to build all these amazing buildings there, and kids park and stuff like that. Yeah, so this is the video, also shows some of the projects that we want to do, so maybe we can play it quickly. Well, at least I can give you comments. This was the water purification facility that they have stolen. This is the beach bar. That was the first building behind it. Those were all like maybe 2-3 tons of wood that we were planning to use for the glamping. We have the same glamps. And we still have a couple like you have up there. I bought them actually already 2 years ago to be ready for settlement of Liberland. So these were all our border guards that were forcibly removed from our border house. This guy also plays violin, so during the whole siege he was diligently playing violin. It was hilarious. Yes, and they were beating us, and the more beating we get, the better for us as well, because of course Croatian police completely recklessly conducting violence on a foreign country outside of its territory. It's a great case for the court. And then these guys, they came and they literally tried to rob us. Like everything that you didn't hold in your hand, they tried to take it. So it's like a blatant robbery, activity that they have conducted. It almost feels like this Hitchhiker's Guide to Galaxy, all these workers trying to destroy and people trying to, trying to save their stuff. This was one of the glamps. Did you see that? They were carrying one of the glamps out of there. They managed to create the total destruction of around 60,000 euro in my estimate, which is not too bad. We were not giving them too much chances to steal much more. The most valuable stuff we managed to get out of there. But they took the Starlink and they said it's trash. So I was thinking maybe, Elon Musk would actually react to that he don't share the opinion that his Starlink is a trash. Anyway, so we want to actually build a beautiful kid park. I'm doing it for my kids, but I'm also doing it because it's very difficult to destroy kids park. And we've got the partner Miraculum. I think it's one of the best kids parks in Europe, maybe in the world actually. It's a really nice place. It's next to Prague. Go and visit. And the guy that is building this place is a big fan. And I hope he's coming to help us to design the park. And we want to start building in next couple of weeks. We got another guy that also has a beautiful park. He's coming also next week to start building. So it's a lot of fun. And right now we're kind of in this abundance phase when we really can decide and strategize what to do next, because the money inflow from the 700,000 people that applied for citizenship, once we actually managed to settle the territory, and the interest in citizenship has gone 10x over what it was before. So basically the damage that they have created now with this one step is basically the income that we are getting daily from the network. So like we can have this type of destruction and much more media happening almost every day without any slowdown in our progress in our final goal, which is to build a sovereign country in Liberland.
So,
Okay.
I was just wondering, with all the limitations of the visit of your country, shall we call you a president in exile?
Well, kind of, yes. Yes, I got kicked out of Croatia and Liberland, so I'm president in exile. But I don't mind because my schedule over the next 2 months is completely packed. So I cannot even go back to Liberland, but I'm happy that our Minister of Finance moved permanently to Liberland. And he's a really strong person to run things. He had his own development agency for houses in Luxembourg, one of the more successful ones, but at some point he just sold everything like 3 years ago and put everything in Bitcoin. He just become tired of the paperwork also. So this is like a great example of somebody moving in Liberland, you know, a pissed off developer from Luxembourg that just don't want to deal with the paperwork anymore, sold everything, changed it to Bitcoin and is ready to invest in Liberland. 3 years later with, 10x the capital that he had while he was running his development agency. So like we're on a ride, we're kind of enjoying it. If you're coming down, enjoy it with us. It's a lot of fun to start new country.
so we have time for one more question.
Thank you, Vit.
I have a question. Have you considered going into politics in Croatia and becoming a figure of authority there so as to solve your problems in your country? It's not how it works.
No, I haven't. No, this is actually not how it works. No, we're building a new country. We're not messing with other countries' politics. I tried to fix existing country. It's almost impossible because you would have to change the mindset of the people. And there are only 2 to 3% of people that really appreciate freedom. And how do you want to work with that in a country like Croatia? Yes, you can get a support of 2 or 3% of reasonable people in the society, but it's simply not enough to make any reasonable changes, right? So it's much better to start a new country than try to change existing one. I'm serious about that one. All right. Thanks a lot. It's a lot of fun. A lot of great people here I already met. We've got somebody that is doing hydroponics, and we're going to work on some tokenomics here already. There are a couple of people that are coming to Liberland, and I hope we might have ambassador for Montenegro here as well, maybe. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.